Guys, Dawn here, and today I want to talk about helmet safety for kids, babies. Dakota is 4 years old, and she is finally able to fit into their Troxel's smallest size helmet. I think this is the Spirit Legacy or something like that. I was very happy because I was able to find this cheapest at our local store, Norco Ranch Outfitters, which has actually I bought a couple helmets from there because they actually do really good. They have a 15% off Troxel helmets, and they always have great manufacture dates. This one, what's going on here? This one's manufacture date is January 2018. So that's like awesome, and I can just pick it up locally, and it was the cheapest across all the internet sites. So that was great. This is her first helmet, the helmet that she's been wearing up until now, and she finally outgrew this helmet. And it's the Laser Peanut. It's a bicycle helmet, and I'll show you the different shapes here. So here's the shape right there, and here's the shape for this one. And this one does have this nifty dial-a-fit system. I think that's what they call it. But then when you do that, you can now see the new shape of the head, and I don't even think I need to do that with Dakota. So the difference between a bicycle helmet and equestrian helmet is the bicycle helmet's made for bicyclists, and the type of situations that they encounter. Equestrian helmets are made for equestrians and the type of situations that they encounter. So one of the biggest differences that you'll see is that the bicycle helmet, well, I guess we'll do this first. From the outside, you can see that the shape is different. Dome shape. Dome is going to be superior for equal force distribution, okay? Think of an egg versus anything with flat spots and points and curves. It looks better, it looks more stylish, but that is not as strong as a dome. The other thing is all of these gaps, superior for lightweight and for ventilation, and also for style. These cutouts are great, but that also means that it's going to weaken the overall integrity of the structure, because this thing over here is only this thick, right? Versus something with minimal vent holes, but this means that this is going to be hotter, right? But minimal vent holes means stronger. This is how thick it is between. This is how thick it is between. Okay, so you see there's a huge difference there. Other difference here is that bicyclists usually fall out off the front of their bikes, so forward crashes. So you have a lot more protection over here, and then look how thin it is on the sides. Bicyclists are probably very little chance of a bicyclist having a horse's hoof step on the side of their helmet to crush their skull, versus an equestrian helmet that has even, I think it is thicker over here. I think it does still thin out on the sides, but because of the distribution and also the other designs, it is still going to be strong to combat a hoof. Now, these have been stepped on. These have been tested for getting stepped on the sides. These, I don't think they get tested for being stepped on the sides, but in real life situations, they have held up pretty well. Although I mean, you'll see pictures. This will break all the way through. It will just, complete fractures all the way through, right? But it still did its job enough to keep the person safe for that one incident. So I'm not saying that bicycle helmets are bad at all. I'm not saying that at all. In fact, why did I choose this helmet as my child's first helmet? Even though I'm saying all this stuff, I'm just saying that it's not as good as an equestrian helmet for equestrian sports. So yeah, the big question then is, well, then why do I have this helmet as her first helmet of utmost importance? Well, because of weight. Baby's head is not their weakest link, it's their neck, right? Babies can't even hold their heads up. Their heads are bulbous, they're top heavy. Their skulls actually harden up quite quickly, and their skulls are actually pretty good because I think nature knows that they're top heavy and they're going to keep falling and hitting their heads a lot, but their necks are weak. That's why we have to support their necks and da-da-da. Now, Dakota's neck did strengthen faster than I think other kids because I wore her around everywhere. I was baby wearing her. She was always strapped onto me. She was rarely ever just laying flat for any amount of time other than when she was sleeping and stuff, right? But you know what I mean. She was often strapped onto me all day long, and that strengthens her neck. So then, of course, the first helmet I wanted was to be a Troxel helmet, and I called them up and I said, hey, how come this is the smallest helmet you make? How come you don't make a smaller helmet? Because I have a baby, I want to protect her head. And they said, and do not use this as their official thing. This is just one conversation I had with their representative when I called them, okay? But they said at that time that they don't think that a child that has a head smaller than this probably should not be riding a horse because it's too dangerous. And I totally agree with that. That makes sense. And the reason why, again, is their body, their whole body. Think about their ribs, their neck, their bones, everything, okay, and their brains. Helmets do not protect brains. You cannot protect a brain. The brain is inside. It protects the skull only. Of course, the skull protects the brain, but you know what I mean. That's why you still can get a concussion, because it's like a yolk inside an egg. The eggshell is your skull, right? You can protect the eggshell. That's great. You protect the eggshell, you protect the yolk. But the yolk part, if you take an eggshell and you shake it around, that yolk is still going to shake inside of the eggshell, and it can break up. And that's how you get concussions and brain damage. So, it's physically impossible to stop that from happening. The body itself makes the suspension system for the brain, to help it as best that it can, but we have so many extenuating forces and stuff like that. So my point is their neck. Now, they have weaker necks in comparison to the rest of their body, and this thing weighs 10 ounces. This thing weighs a pound, 16 ounces in a pound, okay? So 6 ounce difference. 6 ounce difference, that much? Well, when you're putting another big bulbous thing on top of their already big bulbous head, which is already bigger than their necks can support, then yeah, it is a big deal. That 6 ounces will make a difference. Now, are there equestrian helmets that are this light? I doubt it, unless they're going to sacrifice on other things, right? I mean, everything is a give and take. You want something that has more ventilation, you're going to have to sacrifice some strength. I mean, everything's a give and take. You can't have the best of everything, the best ventilation, the best well, not yet anyways. Maybe in the future when they design some kind of super foam or something like that, right? But anyways, what was I talking about? Okay, so that's why I went with the bicycle helmet, because of the weight. It was the lightest, strongest thing that I could find, and the weight was the biggest factor. So all the other safety things for helmets matter as well. So you want to stay within 5 years of the manufacture date, check. You want to always keep it in a cool, dry, safe place, and replace it after every crash, check. This one has never ever been tested, which is perfect. You want to make sure that the straps are on tight. It has to be tight. If it's loose and floppy, it's going to move around, or it's going to get caught up on stuff. And there's actually a very recent thing about lady now hates helmets because her child's helmet got caught in a low branch, and then her child was dangling from the tree. And it's like, dude, if your straps was on properly, there is no way that the branch could have caught in the strap. It has to be on tight up against you. Not tight enough to choke you out, obviously, but almost there. It has to be tight enough that you can suffer big impacts and it's not gonna budge. It has to be tight enough that branches can't fit underneath between, you know, you and the strap, and then hang you from it. Common sense stuff. It has to be on tight so that the helmet doesn't move, and it has to fit properly. So this was the one that fit the best. I see kids wearing equestrian helmets that are too big for them, and this thing's rocking all over, or it's covering their eyes, or you know, it's making their neck sore or whatever. It's just like that all over their heads, and the strap is way loose, just dangling on their chest, and these parents think that they're doing their kids a service because they're using a proper equestrian helmet. Well, using a proper equestrian helmet improperly is worse than using any other helmet properly. Well, you can say that about anything, right? You got to use things right. You can't just willy-nilly just go, you know, doing things all like improperly and then think that that's okay. I don't know. Anyway, so there you go. Quick thoughts about the different helmets and safety and all that stuff. Obviously, bicycle helmet is better than nothing. Okay, that sounded kind of bad. No, bicycle helmets are awesome. I would totally wear one if I found one that was better than my equestrian helmet. But for what I do, you know, these are made really, really well for what I'm doing. If I was bicycling, I would totally get a bicycle helmet. I think they look awesome and cool, especially when you paint them and decorate them all up like this. So there you go. All right, any questions? Let me know. Otherwise, talk to you later. Bye.